Here we are.
Ooh!
Whoa.
Hello,
Yeah,
hello, hello.
Yeah, hello. Fuck, that countdown. Sorry, that countdown seemed to go forever.
Am I seeing the wrong thing? I can't see myself right now. But anyways, let's just get straight into it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever episode of Out of These Shadows. Thanks for joining us. And today's topic will definitely just be about the esports scene in New Zealand right now. But I'd like to introduce my co-host today, Mr. Daly. Please introduce yourself.
So my name's Daly. I'm a fighting game player from our New Zealand scene, but I'm also a production manager and fighting game liaison for Shadownet. So, yeah. And how about yourself, man?
Who, me? Me. I'm nobody. Name's Jared, aka OP1 Keone, for those of you. And I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Shadownet, and I'm also a TFT player. So, yeah, got a little bit of experience in the professional scene a little bit. I know my friend Drex has quite a bit more than me, but we'll definitely touch on that soon.
Yeah. So, once again, thank you for those who have tuned in. Due to circumstances which we all know, this wasn't the original plan. We were supposed to be in a proper studio, so we're taking advantage of a very sore moment. But yeah, so just thanks again for whoever's watching on the other side. And we do have a competition. So for our first episode, so we've got some PC games to give away. So how it'll work is there'll be a little triangle. So if everyone knows the Shadownet logo, it's on the screen there. So we will have a mini triangle, mini Shadownet that will glitch. We've got T-Mod in the background. Can you initiate G1 for me, T-Mod?
Initiate G1.
Yeah. So I should take it.
Yeah. Because it's got that delayed.
That delayed.
Jared, aka carrier of noobs and low. Whoa! I mean, see.
So hopefully, did it come through? Because I just transitioned and I missed it. Did it come through? Okay, sweet.
Yeah, it's always good to test that before we get going. Oh! For those of you who heard that lovely sound just there, Drax will finish explaining what the competition is.
Yeah, so every time that triangle glitches on screen, the first person to comment a simulate in the Facebook chat will get one of those games. So we'll do it Under Night in Birth, One Step to Eden, and the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So basically, you see that glitch, call it out, comment assimilate in the Facebook chat, and T-Mod will pick you out. And
should pick a winner, and we'll help you get through that lockdown blues.
Yeah, so definitely yes. When that one comes through, we may have a surprise in store. So yeah.
See the Dorito one, yeah.
Yeah.
As much as we all love Doritos, unfortunately they don't lead to the prize at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, so we've introduced ourselves, and then we've got T-Mod in the background. Do you want to say a quick hi, T-Mod, if you can?
Hi, my name is T-Mod, and that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, bye.
No, she's our talent manager. So
oh mate, the backbone of the team. But just before we go any further, it'd be cool to sort of introduce the rest of the Shadownet team before we go. If we got that on screen there. Oh, look at those beautiful faces. Oh, where'd those beautiful faces go? Now it's back to a one beautiful face and one. There we go. Okay, there they all are. Yeah.
So just going in order. So we've got Ian, who is the creator, the founder of Shadownet. He's also a gamer himself. Plays a bit of COD and
and Rainbow Siege. He's a Siege man. Hit him up.
Yeah, and he's definitely the kind of, and he's definitely a good dude. Wants to grow the gaming scene in New Zealand, trying to create something that's not just a brand ambassador, but also helping gamers develop their craft. So I guess that's the basis of what Shadownet was for.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. So got T-Mod as well. She's the social talent, so she looks after the players on the roster, and we'll mention them very briefly. And then we have Frost, who is kind of our comms, our HR person in a way. Yeah, he's got a bit of anonymity towards him. He doesn't really like showing his face or telling us any personal info, but he's a decent dude. Yeah.
I like how his introduction is, do we really know him? Nah, we do. He's a great guy. I love that dude. Lots of professional experience in League of Legends as well. If you've ever wanted to grab some great knowledge, he is a really good person to talk to. He's told me some stories that I never would have ever expected to hear from the sort of competitive scene. So he's a great person to go to. Who we got next? Sorry, you're gonna have to do that one, Drax. My eyes are terrible.
That is, I think it's Sean, isn't it? Sean, yep. So he's another man behind the scenes. We've got Prony up the top, so she is the chief of financials and also the mum. So, if we do anything wrong, we'll hear it.
Oh, Frost City's HR. Oh, damn, we're all getting reported now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, we're getting reported to Frost. Damn, that's the worst one when the HR rep pulls you up himself. We're done for, mate. We're done for. So I'll let you finish off introducing the team.
No. I was in Navi. I'd say is probably the legal team, I suppose. Like he's the muscle behind any plans that need to get action. You don't want to.
Yeah, he's the king of one outs now. I've had to give up my one outs title.
Yeah.
Had to leave that life behind.
And you got Holly. She is in charge of the social media. Crystal Cherry, who designed the uniform. And then down the bottom, you've got Toxin, because he's
Toxin. And we love him. I love Toxin. I think we missed Jordan as well. Oh, so once there. Mr. Jordan O'Brien.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
He's head of esports. What? Where did HR come from? See, now I'm scared. Was that a misdirect? Does he tell me that he's head of esports and then he's really HR and then I get reported?
I thought we were ready for this, man.
Yeah, I thought so too. But anyways, that's our lovely team. That's everyone we've got on board.
Yeah. Please, just to stress, if you have any questions about Shadownet, if you're curious about anything, please don't hesitate to contact any one of these guys. They're more than happy to help.
Lots of avenues to get hold of us too. You see the social tags there on screen associated with the person. And so the other thing that we obviously want to mention before we go forward is the professional teams that we got going. So we've got a Rainbow Six Siege team. I believe also got myself playing TFT, Mr. Ghost Chips playing Street Fighter, Holy Emperor that plays Tekken.
Yep. And
Prony, who's the queen of auto chess. Apparently, from what I've heard it behind the scenes. She's just like the queen of auto chess. It's amazing. That's entrapment.
Are we missing anyone? Are we missing anyone else?
No. Someone in the Billy in the comments said that's entrapment. That's true. I'm covered now. I'm glad we got this live on camera. Man, I ain't getting done.
No, that's perfect. So yeah, we could start off right away.
Yeah. So esports in New Zealand, it's obviously become a hot topic.
Yeah. We could start off with what's your understanding of esports in this country?
For me personally?
Yeah.
So my understanding of esports currently is that we've got a really strong passion for gaming. It was evident through years, and people are finally starting to catch up and wanting to put into it. But I feel like there's just still a gap missing. But definitely, we have such a strong scene here, man. Billy Ghost Chips is better, A-Ray. Oh yeah, all good. We'll just ramble. So yeah, no, that honestly, because I guess for esports for me, it's more than just what it officially is. I remember stories of when my dad and his mates would play each other at Age of Empires or Red Alert or StarCraft. To me, that's esports. It's just competing with your friends or against other people and upskilling. That's at the heart of its core. It is the passion for what we do and what we play. I know that you've got quite a lot of experience on the fighting game side of esports. If you wanted to sort of educate us, I've really enjoyed listening to your stories about it.
Yeah, no, I think usually, for our scene for New Zealand, we've had a lot of experience with competitive gaming. I mean, just the simple scenarios, going to the fish and chip shop with your cousin, with your friend, and you see the Street Fighter 2 machine in the corner. I think some of the earliest moments of competitive gaming would be playing with your friends, playing Crash Nitro Kart, Gran Turismo, Ridge Racer, anything that you'd want to get one up with your friend and stuff. Yeah, and I'd say, but I think there's a graph that I'd like to show. I've got a reference of it here. Can we get that graph up, T-Mod? It's the esport, because because it's interesting it's actually interesting seeing in terms of like the esports rewards one, the colorful graph.
Yeah, the graph, there it is. That
Yeah.
beautiful informational chart there.
Oh, we're going back. Okay, so if you look at that, so prior to 2014, you look at all those game titles there, and some titles you can expect to see there, and others, like Dota on top, wouldn't surprise a lot of people, eh?
Yeah, I think it's because Dota specifically uses a what do you call it? Like the community funds the prize pool, so they end up with some really big amounts. But I mean, that's credit in itself, that the fact that the community can fund a prize pool of a game to hit like millions of dollars.
Yeah, you said
from a fan base.
Yeah, you said yourself the first three you weren't too surprised, right?
Yeah, I think because me sort of growing up in gaming, I've always known those games to be quite big. Like not a lot of people know this about me, but I'm actually a really big diehard StarCraft player. Like, man, I'll challenge anyone at StarCraft, no fear. Because that's why for it to be second, like, because I've always followed, I know the Korean scene is real strong. They used to, in Korea, there would be specific channels that only played StarCraft Brood War professional matches.
Yeah.
And that was a TV, like that was like a section of channels. Like, man, if we could have that over here, it would be a dream. But that's with Sky Sports picking up esports and starting to broadcast, and especially now during lockdown, things like the TAB picking up betting on sports. It's not too far off, in my opinion, for us here.
Yeah, I mean, gaming definitely has come a long way. I think the first on this website where we grabbed this, apparently the first video game tournament was back in 1978. It was at Stanford University, and it was a game called Spaceware. Like, yeah, I kind of get it, but but then it went on to saying that the first like proper like big video game tournament was 1980. Do you want to take a get? Like, if you heard like what was the first big video game tournament, what would you have said?
Pong. I always say Pong because that's like the oldest game I can think of. It's like the two things bouncing back and forth and getting points. I always imagine it's Pong, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, it was actually Space Invaders.
See, that's dope though, man. That's so dope. Like, if I think about, man, Space Invaders was made before I was made, and people were trying to compete for the high scores. And I feel like that's a really good point. Is like how evident competitive gaming has been before it was even recognized by the world.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're talking about like the very first sign, like of competitive gaming / esports, I thought it would be speedrunning. Games like Donkey Kong where you have to finish the level. No, it's kind of it's slightly different. It's record holding. So it's holding those high scores and like potentially like being that player that gets on the Guinness Book of World Records for the most records held on so and so. So I wouldn't have guessed Space Invaders.
Yeah, but I mean that's there's definitely, so one thing I will just quickly talk about specifically in New Zealand and what I've discovered talking to people is that there are people that love their games, man. I've got a good friend of mine I used to work with who he plays Team Fortress 2 still to this day, from my understanding. And see, that's a scene that it may not be as widespread or as like evident that it's still a popular game, but man, like he tells me about the community that I've got specifically in New Zealand, like a TF2 community here. It's really dedicated, and this is what makes me so happy about these communities: is that you make lifelong friends. You create these environments to make relationships and all bond over something mutual, which is in essence why a lot of us are gamers. And especially for something like Space Invaders, like I'm sure there's a group of people who just love playing Space Invaders, and they'll like message each other and be like, "Yo, I just cracked like a new high score. Love this game." And like it'd be cool to have like an official avenue for them.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
And that's why I really want to increase esports in general, like because people might not think that their game's worth like investing in, but if you look at that chart of what the top games were, I'm pretty sure I saw Age of Empires in there. With a really strong amount of prize pool, And
I worked in a retail job back in like 2007, and like I kind of knew what Age of sales wise what it was like, and I was really surprised to see Age of Empires on there. I was like, Jesus, 2010, I practically was non-existent for me back then. I never saw it.
Yeah, exactly. See, and then like my memory of Age of Empires is like a story I told you guys off off stream, but I'll tell it now. I was like 5 years old, and my dad and his mates were playing a game against each other of Age of Empires. And to get the win in the game, you have to destroy every structure that they own. So what he would do is he'd half build a structure and then leave it and just place them all around the map and play hide and seek. And it got so long that he turned off his monitor, and then the sun rose. And then he was like, dude, I've got an exam today. I have to leave. He left for the exam, fell asleep on the train, and completely missed the exam. But like, that's how deep they were. And this was, what are we talking, like 1997, 98?
Wow.
You know, and so to know that even if you look at the chart through to the like early 2000s, even like mid 2000s, there were still people playing, competing, earning money in that exact game. It's just, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah. So can we paint a picture of who are some of the names in esports New Zealand at the moment? I mean, clearly you've got like the Shadownet crew, so Ghost Chips and Holy Emperor, the Rainbow Six team, and you know everyone there. I can definitely say for the fighting game scene, you've got Wowzer, who's sponsored by Kanga, an Australian org. Dan Banter, sponsored by Black Sheep, a New Zealand org, which is great. Reno, sponsored by an Australian company. Riot, that's, you know, he's a Street Fighter 5 player. There are people there. And I think the biggest name, like no joke, is Gratisfaction.
Oh, it has to be
100 Thieves. Like no one compares to the history of this guy.
Yeah, I love Gratis as a player. Like, Sean's such a oh man, when you watch him play, it's just it's amazing to think that he, you know, started from where we all started, and that's where he is. Like that's, you see it in fruition, you know, and it's not unrealistic. I remember we were also talking about, you mentioned Holy Emperor, because Holy Emperor went to like Evo, came 49th or something.
Yeah, 49th.
Yeah, see, 49. That's an achievement, man. To be able to say that you labbed and grew up in a country as small as New Zealand, came out 49th at Evo, damn, that's, you know what I mean? That's amazing. Yeah. It really shows that we really could do it if we just, you know, if we just sat down, had the resources. I believe we've actually got a clip of Gratis? Yeah.
Yeah, clip of Gratis is playing. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. It's just, look at him. And like, that's the thing is,
Stash is amazing, man.
Yeah, it is, and it's really funny. I've got some mates who were in the CS:GO scene, and one of them messaged me recently, and he was like, just we're having some banter, and he was like, "Man, I'd smash Gratis in a 1-on-1," and I was cracking up. But like, the thing is, I know how he plays as a person. I don't doubt that. You know, like I genuinely don't doubt that he could play at that level. So it's really about figuring out what's missing and why we don't have more, you know, names and people like that to follow. But it's great to see that there are people from like Oceania, like it's their job, it's their life, you know.
Yeah, CS:GO player. He's 24 years old. The moustache I've already mentioned.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Intel Extreme Masters 14, Blast Premier, Spring 2020. Like this kid has actually made like a shitload of money.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, he's made a decent amount of money competitively just from competitions, but also like having a salary, you know, having all the resources and stuff. It's just great to know that, you know, that's his life now. Like, man, I would love to have that for, you know, something like I play like TFT or StarCraft. Like that would be a dream, and I'm sure we could. Another person I wanted to talk about that we had on the list, well, a couple of people, was the Warriors Esports. We got Twiz and Cover H, I believe. They compete in
Warriors
Fortnite.
Esports.
Yeah. See, that's so cool. Like, man, growing up, you know, especially for us, like Pacific Islanders, Polynesian people, we idolize sports players. You know, we look up to people from our culture that are able to compete at a high level, and their whole lives are something like league or rugby. So to know that we've got, you know, the Warriors have now created like an esports organization, that's so cool. To know that I could, like, you know, represent my country, wear a jersey in something that I love doing, and I would really highly encourage a lot of people to do that. You know, it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, because like it's when you see moments like this, you begin. I would feel like the older generation begin to think about, like, is this actually a future? This can be a thing. Because one thing which I think you'd agree on is, like, I think New Zealanders have the tall poppy syndrome, and even in something like esports, it's so hard to overcome because they always downplay like the skill. But why cannot that deserve the great more, you know, as less recognition than Anthony Joshua winning one of those belts back or whatever,
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We definitely need to, support and hype up our players more. Because I'm guilty of this. Especially joining up with Shadownet has really given me a wide appreciation for all the different scenes. Because we've got someone like Ian, Mr. Lan, who is so deep in the Rainbow Six Siege scene that when he tells me about it, I'm like, man, I didn't even know that they're out here trying to make that career for them, but they are, and I love it. And it's great to get to know all these different scenes. It'd be cool if as a country we could get on board and have that more mainstay, but that'll come with time. They'll catch that wave.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to money and I guess marketability, because like esports, you could say that all games have a niche community, but when you look at something like Fortnite, which just connects throughout the masses, the return.
No, finish.
No, you go, bro.
I was gonna say, sorry to not to cut you off there, but talking about Fortnite, because it definitely is. Fortnite did have that sort of hysteria where it was just like, man, this is the game everyone's playing, right? But then you look at something like NBA 2K. Now, I know personally that NBA 2K has this insane amount of people that play it. Like, man, every man and his dog they just play 2K or some type of sport, even like FIFA or Madden. They play these sports games to the same level that like anyone plays their games and they love it, but you don't hear the same types of, there's no world champs, there's no leagues, there's no scenes. But I know for a fact that, man, like we had Ticino recently playing in the $25,000 American tournament over the last few days. He made it through to the third round. He beat representatives from the Utah Jazz and the LA Lakers teams, which was like, man, me as a basketball player from New Zealand, I might not ever get to play against the Lakers, but to have someone like Ticino, play against the digital LA Lakers, that's massive. To be able to be in the company or own home during lockdown, playing against the representatives for the LA Lakers and winning, it's just more credit.
Could we get that clip of Ticino playing? There was a highlight clip of him on Twitter. I think
it was at the 2K comp. Let me see which round it was. Hopefully it wasn't I think it might be. Okay, it was round 3, which is this is. But man, 2022. That wasn't a bad separation of the game, and I know they did really well. But I mean, see, look at this, like the level of. You have all the players on the court. They got to coordinate their positions. Like they're doing screens. Like these are things that you would do in a normal basketball game, and while it may not take your physical muscles to do, you're still working the same sort of the logic in the brain, to perform these tasks. I absolutely love it, man. Like I was watching this tournament casually over the last few days because I mean, hey, we're in lockdown. What else have we got to watch? Sorry, my cat's what, Salem? Hang on, I'm just gonna let my cat out. Lockdown problems.
Funny that. But yeah, no, Ticino, I think he has 660k notes here.
Yeah, so I've got it in front of me, 660,000 YouTube sub count, 112 mil views. Like, you know what I mean? This is someone that quite a few of us probably went to school with, probably just know from around the block, and then man, they're hitting those hundreds of thousands of followers just for playing 2K. I don't doubt that there's so many people that could just play their game and get the same kind of love for their scene.
Yeah. Because there's no present community for 2K that you know of in this country, and you definitely say that New Zealand, there needs to be a 2K scene that comes out.
Oh, 100%. You would never think like the people that I bump into daily that know that I'm a gamer, and they're like, yeah, bro, I don't game, but I play 2K. And then I like watch them play, or like I'll hear how heavily they play, and I was like, you are a gamer. I was like, you probably play 2K more than I play TFT. Yeah, and it's just like, they spend hours and hours, and like, especially recently, I've seen in the 2K scene internationally, they'll be doing cash wages. So like people challenge each other, for like $1,000 game, and those are the kind of bets that started out between you and your mates. Like I remember me and my dad, because I'm pretty sure he's watching in the chat here, but me and my dad would have like best out of 10 $20 games, a Street Fighter 2. Like a takeaway because we know there's a machine there, or we'd have these $20 bet games between us, and then all of a sudden, you see that now internationally online they're doing these $1,000 games for 2K. It just be, man, there's definitely a scene like waiting to happen here in New Zealand, in my opinion, and it's good to branch out and make sure that everyone, just because it may not be an esport necessarily, doesn't mean it can't have a scene, doesn't mean it can't have a healthy, competitive circuit and everything. And like I always say to people, you can make it an esport. Like start it here.
Yeah, definitely. So let's cross over back because we've mentioned a bit of like the CS:GO. I do want to go back to it because, well, I want to mention COD because like with COD Warzone, like how I mean, generally how are you finding it? Because that's a game that it's never really broken esports. Yeah, how is a game like COD never really broken esports ground? Oh, glitch. Okay.
Oh, hang on a second. What was that?
Oh, shit.
What was that?
Oh, okay.
Nah, anyways, back on scene now. Yeah. So what I was sorry, we're talking about COD, and like it's really funny you actually asked me that. I was having a conversation with my friend recently, who there's like an AUNZ COD page, and it's specifically for hardcore. So they have like these hardcore tournaments, they've got their own brackets and they like play weekly and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's no one that's another New Zealand scene that no one's then just taking the initiative like, man, maybe we can breathe some life into this. So I think the only thing about COD is that, especially because I know you mentioned Warzone, and it depends on whether there's enough to really doing it like mechanically for it to be an esport. I know COD itself could be, but I don't know if Warzone could. That'd be interesting. Right now, Warzone has an unfortunate plague because being a free-to-play game, there are just hackers everywhere right now, and it's really been pissing me off. Because,
I guess that's what I was trying to hint at, bro. Free-to-play hackers.
Yeah, and I mean, that wouldn't sort of mess up an esport, like a professional scene, but it definitely deters people from wanting to play. Like, there's nothing I hate more than jumping in a game and some dude headshots me from like across the map, like not even across the map. Like you wouldn't even be able to see him if you were hacking as well. Like that's how crazy it is. Like when he shoots me and it goes to his camera, I was like, no, this is just damn. You've got some monstrously strong hacks on. It's just.
I mean, of course
crazy.
they have anti-cheats in place, and aim assist is going to always be the big one.
Yeah, so it really does depend on platform.
Yeah, I was just going to say because you could almost say that hackers kill the competitive scene, and
yeah, well, they definitely make it interesting, and I think I know where you're gonna go with this one. Was this what's his name? You're gonna have to remind me. Is it Forsaken with the Optic India?
Oh, Forsaken? Yeah. Yeah.
See, that was really unfortunate because that. I mean, luckily, from my understanding, they try and curve as much cheating as possible. It would be like steroids in sports, like. They do everything they can to stop it, but at some point in some time, someone's going to try it. And
yeah, well, the PCs weren't checked, right? And yeah, he had the mouse with the.
Yeah, so I believe his mouse was sort of altered to become like a USB device, so he could plug it in, load his hacks, and then use it on stage in a competition, which is, that's crazy to think about. But hey,
well, it basically destroyed Optic India, didn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure they got DQ'd from that tournament, and he is a player as well. I mean, his name is very accurate now. That's all I'll say. Is Forsaken was a good name for him. He definitely he had future thinking right there.
Yeah,
he was like, man, I'm gonna.
Yeah, plus it's like physical sports in a way. Like if you're in a scandal, the public will generally shun you. But with something like this, the community just cuts you off completely. Like you don't come back ever.
Yeah. And something I actually just quickly oversaw in chat, and this is actually really, I'll just quickly to talk about it. He's asking me about why COD might not have entered like an esports scene, but like especially right now for TFT, because obviously I play it quite a lot. There's no way to spectate or to run like from a moderator view, so it does make it really hard to broadcast it because you can only really broadcast it from one player's perspective at a time. So unless everyone in the tournament broadcasting, you've got to tune into different ones. So I like games like CS:GO that have all of that. Like it's been such a scene. Like man, I remember people playing like 1.5 when I was like 8, and they played that competitively. Like man, we're talking about teams like Parallax. Like man, Parallax have been in. We're playing for so long. And then you had like Xland. See, one thing I love about New Zealand, especially with CS:GO, is they had actually not even just CS:GO, like Counter-Strike, all the different FPS and like fighting games. Is they would have that excellent competition where everyone just took their computers, they all played against each other, and that was like it didn't need anyone it didn't need anyone else to verify it. They were just like, hey man, let's just all meet up, have a giant LAN tournament, and we just do our thing. And it's cool to see now that people are like paying for people to be able to do that. That's what I think the really big difference is. But yeah, man, I miss X-LAN. But obviously with you in the fighting game scene, how maybe you'd be able to sort of touch on like, because how have you been in it since like its earliest days? Like I've been to a couple of events, but I can't say that I'm like a huge competitor. But you know,
I'd say I've been around for quite a while. I think my first event was 2013, but I didn't become like fully active and visible till 2017. And I think that, and because I'm a Tekken player, it's kind of like when it came out and it was kind of fresh. But yeah, it's a really good scene. Obviously, cheating not really a viable factor, but you know, people raging, people disconnecting on ranked matches, that's always a common thing. I'm sure it's the same thing with, you know, people rage quitting matches, you know, when they're losing on CS:GO or you know, a TFT or whatever. But you've got Ghost Chips and Holy Emperor, and we've got a clip of Ghost Chips. Hopefully it'll be up soon. So these two boys, so obviously these two guys are Shadownet, and Ghost Chips is one of the youngest players in the Street Fighter scene from New Zealand.
Yeah, and he does so amazingly. I love following Ghost, man.
He's the most courteous. He's actually one of the most nicest guys you'll ever meet in the scene.
Yeah, but
he's a killer. He is an actual killer, you know.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say, man. In that clip at the end, like that smile on his face, I was like, that's a killer smile.
Yeah. No, he's really good. And it goes to show you, like, this is a game that's been out since before he was born. And he's made a name for himself as being one of New Zealand's best. He's been to overseas competitions like Capcom, Holy Emperor as well. He's been to Evo, like you said, 49th, in a tournament with 1,800 people. 1,800 Tekken players. And he comes 49th. I think that's the best placing Evo placement ever for someone from our country in Tekken. Prove me wrong. And I want to be proven wrong, but that's a pretty damn good number.
Exactly. See, and that's the great thing about it. It's like, man, we want to be proven wrong. Like, if someone from here, like, if Holy Emperor can sort of lab in his local country and then come 49th at Evo, like, man, there's nothing, like, we definitely could. Oh, was that Ghost and Zazov?
Yeah, Ghost and Zazov. That's actually fitting because Zazov, he is still one of the most prominent players in our scene for Street Fighter and Tekken. So it's always fitting. Generally in a competition, it's going to come down to these two.
See that triple dash? That was disgusting. And then into the cancel as well. Man, Ghost, you're dangerous, man. Honestly, I'm still... And Bison's like my favorite person. I love Bison.
He makes you hate Bison. That's
well, he makes me scared. Like, damn, that's a weapon. Like, Bison in his hands is a weapon.
Yeah, but I think one thing that really, like the fighting game scene, it's very community driven. It's not like other, you know, like FP, you know, it's not like other gaming scenes, like shooting scenes. It really does rely on the community, but I think that's why it's lasted this long, and they've been probably one of the longest active scenes in like New Zealand.
Yeah, 100%. I remember hearing about Standing Fierce for so long, and I'd never seen an event, but I'd heard about them constantly because I had so many mates that played. I was like, oh, you're mean.
Going back to the tall poppy syndrome, it's always interesting when you see someone, you talk about who you are, what you do, what you play, and how good you are, and then I think I saw someone was watching a documentary on Ghost Chips, and the first comment in that video was like, oh, wow, Street Fighter, I didn't realize people play that dead-ass game, and it's like... This is like one of the best players in the country, and you're saying that kind of stuff. I'm like people just need to. I mean, regardless of whether the game is dead or not, you just need to. Well, Street Fighter ain't dead yet, but people need to start accepting esports as a real thing, and that level of accomplishment shouldn't be downgraded. It shouldn't be watered down. It should be treated just as equally as if, you know, we beat France in the Rugby World Cup. You know what I mean? I'm kind of getting sick and tired of people underplaying the success of certain people and organizations. You know.
Yeah, no, 100%. But that's why actually a little nice segue you did there. One good thing is recently in New Zealand just had an influx of like organizations finally wanting to pop up.
Yes.
Especially one of my favorites that I want to talk about is the Digital Natives Academy. I absolutely love that idea. Like, man, they're just like it's. I remember I played in one of their TFT tournaments, and it was just like the real heartiest people I've ever met and like conversed with. And we were all there playing the same game, same tournament. Like, it was so fun. And I'm glad that there are finally people stepping up to make it a serious thing. You know, we've definitely had, I think is it LPL that have run some big tournaments over the years as well.
Yeah.
And especially I think, is it Arena Grounds? I don't want to
Arena
be.
Grounds. Yeah,
Yeah.
Arena Grounds. Yep.
So that was a
So,
big. Was that FPS correct? Is it?
yeah. So Manny, he's a graphic designer. Armani Drowsy. He's
Mhm.
Drowsy, so he does, like Fortnite tournaments, Street Fighter,
Mm.
Tekken, COD. The thing is, yeah, like it's on the come up. I think it's limited to resource and manpower, but I think with given time and given influence, it will probably grow into something a bit bigger.
Yeah, see, that would be great, man. And I was actually cracking up because I know they've got a tournament coming on next weekend that I'm actually going to enter. But I looked at the top of the page and it was called the DNA, and I didn't realize that was till I noticed it was an acronym for Digital Natives Academy, and I was like, "That's so cool, man!" Like, I know that's a real random thing to say, but I was like, "Man, imagine playing for Team DNA! Like, oh, it feels so good, man." And I would love for like, especially like, I'm not to make it like a race thing, but like, I would love to see more brown and Polynesian representation in game. That's why I love watching Ghost play. Because, like, man, young Māori kid picks up Street Fighter as arguably best in the country, best in the region. Like, I mean, like, and it's just like, man, that's so cool to me. Like, because growing up, I just never thought it was possible, and I'm so happy to see it.
Well, Digital Natives Academy, Rotorua based. They really are focused on encouraging Maori youth to pursue a digital creative career. Because one thing that I still love explaining to parents this day is the fact that it's not just about the gaming that you should let go of, let your kid go to gaming, but it's not a dead end thing. Like, it's not just gaming at the end of the day. It could lead into content creation or video production, graphic designer, media consult. Like, it's just the avenue opens up, and like when parents only see it as a narrow pathway, it's almost like that adolescent thing when you're like, oh, I want to be a rapper, and you can't, it's that whole dead end thing. Like, no, like.
Yeah, and then the unfortunate thing is when you see people in the country become amazing rappers, and you're like, that could have been you if you just stuck to it. But definitely, I agree with you by saying there are a lot of jobs and opportunities in gaming that aren't just being a pro gamer.
Yeah.
Design, writing, acting, programming. Like, there's lots of proper skills that you can learn that translate into other things. Like, the main reason why I learned code is because I wanted to learn how to code games. Like, that was it. Like, I just love games so much that I wanted to pick up any skill associated with it. And,
Cool.
I just went with it.
Number 2, here we go. Oh, well, you mentioned LPL, and it's an interesting thing because their level of production is amazing. The workload that they put towards it is impressive. But I think the one thing that I think people do get let down a bit is that they don't carry their scene with them. So, like one year they'll focus on Street Fighter 5, and then they'll go to Rocket League, and then the next it's Gran Turismo or whatever. The whole point is that they're not carrying, like, the audience that they've built. It exists within that game. When you change it yearly, I just don't feel like they're keeping their audience. It's always chopping and changing. People are filtering out, filtering in, which people generally do. But in terms of the gaming scene, you want to carry those people with you. When you change you get what I mean, though. It's like the game when you're doing yearly tournaments and changing up the games. It's like I get it, but I guess for competitive players, you always wish for the next event. You're always looking for that next event. So when it's just a one-off, you're a bit disappointed.
That's true, but I will sort of I'll play devil's advocate in this one a little bit. So I can understand that, like, they definitely do. Like, I'm familiar with their tournaments. They do change the scene, and they've done a lot of different things. But I think that's more that what I would like to see is like us as Shadownet, or people like they're saying like DNA, some of the other orgs to be given that same level of power or that same level of opportunity to grow their scenes. You know what I mean? Like, I can only say that for me personally, I have the knowledge to focus on my one scene. So if I was given that, I definitely would. And I'm sure some people might critique me if I invest so much in the TFT community and don't sort of explore the other ones. But I think for New Zealand as a country, what we need is more resources to grow those scenes. I would love nothing more than to throw a major for a fighting game just to see like our players actually have something to work towards. But I definitely know what you mean with LPL holding a major in different titles. It is unfortunate, but I think that's more a state of of New Zealand esports. You know what I mean? We just don't simply have enough minors and majors to go around. But I really hope that does change, you know?
Yeah.
Especially with lockdown right now. Like, damn, this is the perfect time to run
this is the perfect time to encourage online competition and content creation if you're a gamer more than anything, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Especially because what was the funniest one I heard about recently? It was like a group of my mates that were playing Counter-Strike, but every time you died, you had to do push-ups, and it was just a way to make sure that they were staying active and also to hang out exercising during lockdown. It was a cool thing to hear that they were just mixing that up in sort of friendly way. And I'm sure, especially with DNA running that massive tournament, I keep talking about it, but it's like I'm excited, man. Like I can't stress enough how much I love to hear about these things.
For $250, you would be excited, man.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, even for free tournaments, I enter no prize tournaments. I'll enter any tournament that pops up for TFT in New Zealand because I just the more that we as a community and as people put our names forward and put our time into it, you know, then other people who may not be gamers will see that. They'll be like, man, they get, you know, 50, 60, 70 people consistently now. You know, there could be some money there. And I'm sure if you took if you took 70 people were like, hey, $10 each, $500 prize pool, it's not unrealistic, especially because TFT is now available on mobile. For all you curious cats out there who may want to jump in. Anyways. But no, esports. I know in New Zealand, like everyone. One thing I will say, and give credit to for the esports also is everyone is definitely trying. You know, even us as Shadownet, like all we can do is try. But we all, as long as we keep that same shared sort of passion and mentality, I know we'll foster that amazing kind of growth.
Yeah.
One thing I did also want to mention is recently there have been schools and stuff. I believe it was at Northcote Intermediate. And some other schools were looking for esports programs. You know,
yeah, they were. Yeah, so I think Playtech were actually talking about how, Northcote Intermediate, they want to. Parents are actually getting. It's actually the parents that are wanting this. They're wanting the schools to try and make esports programs, not hosting tournaments. This is something different. So it's making it's making esports programs. So it's teaching kids how to become proficient gamers and streamers. And I actually think but I mean, I drove past the local college, man, and I remember seeing one day that they had like an actual like Overwatch team. I think Overwatch team, they went overseas to compete. And you're right. So it's really crazy now that schools are starting to encourage esports, like esports teams, just overall. You know, it's like, oh, you got a free period. Oh, why don't you just go practice domination or something instead?
Yeah. So it's actually really funny you say that because so I went to Avondale a billion years ago. And I've got some younger friends who I've known through like their siblings and stuff, and they're in their last year of high school. And I remember he told me a story. He came up to me, like we were talking online. He was like, "Yeah, man, like they came up to me and asked me if I wanted to be the jungler for." I think he was going to Mags at the time. But he was like, "Yeah, I want to." Like they asked me if I'd be jungle for their team, and I was like, "What the man? Do you know how much I would have loved to have been in high school?" And someone like, "Boy, do you want to play jungle for our team?" Yes. Cancel all my life plans. Yes, I will be jungle for your team. But what do I have to do? It's just so great to hear. Man,
like how they support gaming groups, gaming curriculum, but also streaming, because streaming can just as well as be, you can use streaming to transition into being like esports. You can be that variety streamer for an esports brand.
Exactly. Oh my god. So the craziest thing that happened to me, I was in Playtech, I was in Playtech maybe a few weeks back, just before lockdown, and we were just doing some stuff there. And this girl, probably maybe like 15, 16, came in with her mum, and they were browsing for streamer gear, and she was like so excited to start her stream, and I was like,
yeah,
what a world we live in, man. What is 2020 like? Damn, I was like, it's like there's young teens who like they see the career in this, and their parents are like, yeah, all right, let's go buy your rig. Let's load up the shopping list. And like the mum had no idea what was going on, but you could tell she was just saying, I'm just gonna support my kid, which is cool to hear because I remember when my mum telling me to stop playing and get off, but she did have a point. It was 6 a.m. on a Thursday morning.
Yeah,
and I did have school that day, but hey, look where I am now. Woo!
Well, speaking of streamers, do you know any streamers that are like Any infamous New Zealand streamers? Like,
Yeah, so one that I really enjoy watching, who he operates in like a kind of a niche, but he is a really like he has a full-time career streaming. Is Quinn69? I'm not sure if a lot of
yes.
people listening, yeah, like because he's got a really big avenue in his games that he plays. Because I play Path of Exile Diablo 3, so I'm familiar with his content, but I understand that there might be a few people that aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he cracks high numbers. Like I think he's similar to Ticino too, like in the 500,000. I may have to be corrected on that one.
He averages like 2K views, and
Yeah,
and
see,
all
that's
he's doing
massive.
is it's massive.
Yeah, sorry, I just gotta quickly type something.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, so no, exactly. Like, that's another great example of someone who has a job in gaming about what the game they love or the games they love, regardless of whether it's dead or not. Because, you made that comment about someone saying, oh, yeah, Street Fighter's dead. It's like, well, it's dead to that person, but we just don't need him in the fan base,
Exactly. Yeah. Do you, I want to mention it because, like, streamers, like, we mentioned hacking previously and how it can kind of hinder a community. When you got streamers that blatantly like ignore or cover up, and what's that Asian girl? It's Miss Q.
Miss Q Gemini.
Yeah.
Oh, please,
Bring
can we watch
her
that?
on up. Oh,
I
man.
know it's not New Zealand esports, but this is
it's a good template.
It's a good lesson.
It's a good lesson.
Because there may be some people in the chat here that may not be, big into gaming who are like, man, I'll get into gaming, and if they're like, damn, I can't aim, I'll just download a program. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure. So she has this long rant about being a female, and people are like, oh, she can't be there because she's a female, and she's like, oh, I must be hacking because I'm a girl, and then she loads her hacks on stream. Goes on this massive rant like, yeah, no, I'm not good because I'm a hacker. I'm good and I'm a girl, and then it's like, cool, hacking on stream. So please, for everyone listening, do not do this.
Yeah, no, don't get caught hacking and then telling people you're gonna slap them with your chest. Chest bits if you. But yeah, it's just like it's because streamers, you have that influence, and especially if you've got a huge following, I can't imagine what kind of hurt that would do for a game. I mean, especially a game that a lot of people, you've made your career off that game. Mm-hmm. It must be so like. You can't play it off, it can't be ignorance. You've got to accept that loss, man.
100%. And look at it, man. Like you can see the wireframe through the wall, and like, see, the thing is, earlier when we were watching the Gratisfaction clip, right?
Yeah.
He aims like that without the need of a hack, like because she had a USP, and she kind of like she aims a USP at them through the wall. But you watch Gratis do it, and I saw him do like a 1v3 in CS:GO, USP headshots all three of them, and it's like. See, you don't need hacks. Like,
no, man, exactly.
Exactly. But, unfortunately for some people, they just try and get away with it. and I blame it on a glitch. Like, oh, man, have you ever had that glitch when you can see people through walls? No. Just you.
Definitely not.
Just you.
Just you.
Oh, my God. Clara. That has to be a thing now. Dude, I'm just going to blame Clara.
It's like, how come the next video feed is coming in? Clara.
Yeah. Oh, damn, that glitch was wrong. Oh, it was Clara. It was Clara's glitch. Damn, shouldn't have let her in. But no, this is exactly. And so, like, something I want to make sure that people understand that are listening, whether you're a gamer or not, you don't have to be the best professional player in the world to have a career or to be a part of the scene. Like, I compete in Tekken tournaments and I come like 70th. Or like 36th. But I love just being there and playing it. I know a lot of people, they might get intimidated. They're like, oh, I'm just going to go and get smashed. And I was like, yeah, all good. Like, just, come in, we'll all banter about it, about how we all smoked. I remember I got smoked by at the, when the 312 Hub held their Tekken tournament. I got smoked by a Steve player on controller. And I was a real hard out dude. I had my stick and everything playing Dragunov. And I just got smoked.
Someone pointed out in chat, Marcus Powell, yeah, it's pretty fair to say that girl gamers have enough crap to put up with, and especially with the way we see certain controversies we're seeing with girl gamers overseas. In New Zealand, I think, we're pretty decent. We haven't had that much drama when it comes to female streamers,
Yeah, or just like females in gaming in general, because I know LPL, like she's quite up there in the gaming scene. It's really cool. Yeah. I know quite a few females that actually love to play games. I mean, hey, we got T-Mod on decks.
Yeah,
She was
definitely.
playing TFT with we had a TFT jam the other day. Me, her, Gabs, and I think it was it Frost? Man, that
Frost.
was fun though. Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, but shout out to Amy Potter as well at LPL. I just think that at the end of the day, you know, like I truly believe that people follow players, they don't follow organizations. But as long as I love the word transparency, like I just for me, that's it. That's the done deal. Like as long as you can see within the team, you know who's comprised of it. Like people want to know who runs the team. They just don't want to know that it's comprised of cogs and wheels.
Yeah,
So
100%.
Kind of introducing people, you know, our team. This is kind of it helps. You know, it fills the void of who's behind the operations at Shadownet.
100%, 100%.
LPL, it's like it's such a great company, but when I think of the faces, I only think of Amy, and I can't like when I think of the faces, I can't see many people in LPL. I know there's people there, but as you said, with not knowing, there's that hesitancy to approach, to ask for help.
See, that's why it'd be great for us to we're all going to band together. 2020, let's come out of lockdown all ready to boost that scene and get everyone knowing. Actually, it would be cool. You know what? Actually, I might make a thing of it to start learning people's like names in the scene and the higher ups, because I know there's a lot of people behind the scenes. Like you're saying with Shadownet, like we've got a lot of people behind the scenes that do a lot of work that you may not have heard of, but you know, definitely they're putting in actually more. I have to admit, and I'll throw my hands up, I believe everyone in Shadownet does arguably more work behind the scenes than I do. You know, so for me
this
to
isn't
be the
this
one
isn't
here,
a pity. This isn't a pity.
no, it's not. I'm just saying, like, I appreciate the team. I appreciate the team so much for the work they do, and you know, and I can't wait for them to push that same level of passion and work, you know, to everyone else in the scene. Because one big thing, man, LOLNZ, like before the whole Shadow thing, when LOLNZ was active, I remember we did a 48-hour stream. That was so fun. That was like the funnest thing I'd ever done. And you know, this was before the orgs were all trying to get money from it. We were just playing for 48 hours straight. I know Ian will remember that one. There's actually a few people in chat remember that one.
Another Dorito. Jesus, man. Fake. All right. Well, we're talking about, you know, like the higher ups. Why don't we flick to the reference of the esports earnings for New Zealand? Let's see who those higher up people. We have Zecton at, is it Zecton? Yeah. Zecton at number 1. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, before we delve into that, okay.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Okay.
We got to settle this right now. Like, no joke. Who the hell is Zecton? Who the hell is Zecton?
Okay, first of all, I'm sorry, guys. I have to reveal it. That's me. You caught me. I'm here to run my run. No, I'm kidding. But no, yeah, this is definitely
No. Don't. It's fake. That fake earnings is Gratis is number one. Gratis is number one.
But see, this is something I'd love to highlight as well. See, like when it comes to gaming and transparency, actually, the word you said transparency before, that is a great thing that we need to talk about, is that transparency in gaming, because you may look at this number and see, man, 355,000 on an Attack on Titan tribute game. Damn, I'm about to download that and make my way up. And in reality, it's like, no, people like Gratis, like I was saying before, we watch this clip, we talk about his journey, and he, 100K in total earnings tournament wise, and he's currently on salary with 100 Thieves. That's the level. And we've talked about people hacking on stream, talked about people, creating numbers and stuff like this. It's really good in the scene if we can. It's to stop that tall poppy, like you're saying. It's just to all support each other and be very, very transparent.
Yeah, I guess it just highlights the notion where for some people, esports is like that. It's about the notoriety. I don't want to give him too much attention, but this is an example of literally someone doing it for a title. There's no record of gameplay, no matches, on file, nothing like that. So
yeah, and it's crazy.
It's interesting because you're gonna find a lot of people in that you want to find people that want to make a name for themselves, but they don't put in the work.
100%. You have to put in the time and effort to get there, because like it is, like you said, it's like a sport. You got to train. You have to, learn the skills, learn the ins and outs. And I mean, actually, I'm just looking at this graphic here. The top 5. That's near $500,000. And that's just 5 people. See, that's what I mean.
You take it with a grain of salt because we can't confirm these numbers, but guaranteed, Zigton ain't number one, baby.
Yeah, guaranteed. But like, even if you just go from like Gratis, Poppy, Link, Slayer, like, I mean, 3 of them are in Fortnite. I'm sure there'd be a way to we could double check that. But this is so great to know that like that's nearly $500,000.
Yeah.
Among like 4 or 5 players, and it's not that there's a lack of money. It's more that there's a lack of lack of a scene to create the people to earn this kind of money, man. Because I remember someone earlier said it when they said like Parallax. When I said Parallax, and they mentioned Simcore. Like, man, when I was an 11-year-old kid and I watched Simcore play, he was like my LeBron James.
Yeah,
and, and these players here could all like that's them as well from New Zealand. Like, man,
I've got Ghost Chips himself in the chat saying Regan Kelly saying those Christchurch DOA tournaments be paying big bucks. I went to there was a Dunedin major in March, and I went there with my laptop to specifically run a DOA tournament so I could prove to Zigton, nah, man, this is a real, because he faked the DOA tournament in Dunedin, and I thought, no, faked the DOA tournament in Christchurch, and I thought, no, this is a real tournament with real players. There may only be 6 players, but they're more real than the 40 that you put on that roster.
Did he have a 40-man tournament?
I think it was like mid 40s, like
Jesus.
even high 50s. When you chose with that amount of players, like already flags are flying, man. Like already alarm bells are ringing.
Yeah, 100%. Like, oh man, like, I've said 100% too much this podcast. Can someone? I'm gonna make a new game for this podcast and the next. If I say 100%, you gotta put 100% in the chat to just flame it out of my system. I'm gonna say yes, correct, definitely agree with you. Oh my god, mate.
Actually, just as a fun note, because we were kind of talking about streamers. Have we got that clip of Rudism at all? Oh, we don't. Oh, okay. Now Rudism, he's a really great New Zealand streamer. He streams playing games with the most innovative controllers. He was playing Overwatch with a set of bananas. He's played Dark Souls 3.
Oh my god! Wait! Is he a Kiwi?
Man. Yeah, he's a Kiwi, bro.
What?
Bro, he's a legend, man. I swear, he would be an esports brand's dream. Like,
I had no idea he was a Kiwi.
Oh man, what have we been talking about all this time?
No, see, but this is what I mean. Okay, see, this is gaming and esports, right? Is that like you can be so dedicated to your game and your scene, and there's a whole new world outside of it. Like, hey, like I said right now, I'm Jasmine. You guys are There's a whole new world. I did not know he was a Kiwi, and that gives even more like credibility to what we can do. Fortnite with bananas. That's the best.
Well, I mean, Overwatch with bananas as well.
Oh, Overwatch too, yeah.
Fortnite with bananas would.
Yeah, okay. Fortnite with bananas would be. Well, hey, if Rudism, if you are ever listening, I would pay money to see that. Like for him to do like 180s on like a different bunch of bananas. Oh, I'd probably quit gaming. Actually, I'd probably just go pick up a normal day job after watching that. Damn, that's crazy.
So you actually, prior to the stream, bro, you were talking about was it a Diablo? No, it was a Diablo. No, it's a StarCraft 2 thing. You said something about an AI intelligence training program.
Oh yeah, so that Deep AI, I think it was at the beginning of last year, because they did it for Dota 2 and they did it for StarCraft. It's this DeepMind AI that played against StarCraft 2 professional players, and it beat them. And it also played against Dota 2 players, yeah. And so one of my favorite things about this AI, because it's a bit different when you think about sports, like there's definitely a lot of ways that you can, train the muscles, you can focus on different things, but specifically for when it came to Dota 2 and they had the AI that played them, what they noticed was the AI, because it can play perfect, it just made decisions that a normal human player would never think to make. So being able to go up against literal perfection, as close to perfect as you can get, was an experience for them. They were talking about like using this as a training program, like playing an AI that's never going to miss a CS, it's never going to miss a skill shot. Like damn, because obviously they say perfect practice makes perfect or something like that. It's a saying that's like, it's not just practicing, but making sure that you're practicing at a very, very high level, and maintaining consistency. So yeah, they developed an AI that was able to sort of lab against itself for thousands and thousands of games. It learned the mechanics and the ins and outs. And I think even when people beat it, it learned what they did to beat it, and then they never beat it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was just like this crazy
So it's almost got like
program.
this, so it's almost got like this Dr. Manhattan thing where it's got like all these scenarios calculated, but then if some player actually penetrated through and beat it, it would have covered that scenario, and then it's
it just recalculates it. Like, see, the reason why that would be such a good something TFT, like for me, is I'd love to play a team and then watch what an AI was able to do with the pieces it was given. There might be some counters or some compositions that I'm just not aware of as a human player. I've just never experienced that, you know. So it's crazy to think that in games and sports you can play against, you know, a computer to do so. And oh man, I don't know if you've ever watched. There's like a kung fu soccer movie called Shaolin Soccer.
Oh, of course, man.
Yeah. So in Shaolin Soccer, this is years ago. A little bit off tangent, but there's that bit where they're like underwater and they got all the machines and stuff, and they're like doing these super ass kicks. That's how I imagine what it would be like playing against the AI. You know, it's just this monster of a machine that just knows everything you want to do before you can do it. It's just, man, it's crazy to think how where we've come. That's because like usually when you play against AI in like Warcraft 3 and you set the AI, it's insane. Like it's good, but it's not
foolproof.
Good. Yeah. Like if you knew there was like a rhythm that insane AI had, and if you knew how to disrupt that rhythm, you beat it every time. Which is why it wasn't a viable option to play against real people, because you'd play this insane machine, you get insane AI, you get used to its sort of notions, and then you go against the player and they just do something completely different. And you're like, okay, why didn't the highest AI Warcraft 3 had available do that? But now we finally reached the era where, damn, and AI is just as good. Which actually, something I'd like to sort of pose to you, being in the FGC and also Tekken 7, if you could play against an AI for like would it benefit if it could show you exact punishes and stuff, or is there already sort of enough information like that? Because I know Tekken 7 just introduced is it the frame data and stuff like that when you were playing?
So, it's got frame data, so
So
but the AI is the AI is never that sophisticated. But if it could, and if it could actually provide like situational information where it could actually tell you like an actual if you whiff a move, you pretty much know if you can punish it or not. But if it could give you scenarios where, I guess you could say if it gave you scenarios that you could like capitalize and you were given info to really like get as much as you could, then definitely. I guess it just comes down to because you have to, because that game it's not one paced, but the way it's applied, it's gotta like, it would almost feel like every move that you make, it's gonna get counter read and you're just gonna get like opened up hugely for it. It would be good, but I would imagine in the beginning people will just kind of get frustrated with it. Like it's learning, but it's learning in the fact that like you really can't like execution. You can't drop execution for a second.
See, that's interesting there, because I do know the one benefit that they said about the AIs was that they're able to lab against themselves, and and they can run like 1,000 simultaneous games because it's all just inside a supercomputer. So they kind of teach it the mechanics, and it just plays itself like 1,000 times every second or something. Like, I'm not that insane, but you know what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it's interesting. I think it would be really cool if stuff like that came out for us here in New Zealand, because like if we could have the opportunity to practice perfectly, I feel like that would also give us another up. But that's just me sort of dreaming about what could be possible in this scene down here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting time to enter to esports. At the end of the day, it's still a business, so I can understand like people are still kind of warming up to it because it is business. Like,
100%.
Gaming, I was trying to word it. It was just more so that like gaming, it's a perfect time to start reaching out to people, but try to challenge, but also like try to challenge yourself. Start making those connections and start challenging your creative urges and stuff.
I definitely agree. Especially for people that like it's quite interesting. There's a lot of people I know outside of the gaming scene that I'll like game with, like I play COD with them and stuff. And they're definitely better than I am. So sometimes it makes me question, like, oh, hang on a second, like, damn, I'm not even as good as like some of the people that sort of consider themselves casuals. But I think that's more a credit to them as gamers. Like, I love the fact that there's so much different. Is it dynamacy is the word I'm looking for? I think dynamacy is the word I'm looking for. Someone
Dynamacy? Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I was actually wanting to quickly touch on, especially specifically for esports in New Zealand, was the Waikato. The University of Waikato have like an esports.
Yeah, the Waikato Sports.
Yeah, because they're running like the NZ High School Championship, which we did touch on before. But this is just so cool. I'm just like, I've been reading it. I'm just sort of looking at it now. But yeah, they've even got like pricing on how to like. Damn, it's got everything. Oh, it's an actual club. Man, where were these clubs when I was growing up? Man, I needed these kinds of clubs.
Yeah. They were doing Fortnite. Yeah, they were doing Fortnite and Street Fighter, I think.
Man, that's so cool.
Maybe COD as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, cool. Oh, actually, yeah, we'll take a quick break in our conversation to actually announce the winners. Have we got all?
Yeah, I think we've got all three winners now.
We have all three winners. Three winners. Could you please send that through to me? Or
so Stephen Tan.
Stephen Tan, congrats! You've won a game.
You've won Under Night in Birth or Uniclear.
Oh, Uniclear.
Rayleigh Silvers. You've got the One Step to Eden, and our third and final person is Jason Tan. So you've won the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So hopefully we've got your Steam IDs. If not, I'm sure someone from the Shadownet admin will get that, and then we'll get that out to you later tonight or tomorrow morning. So thank you very much.
Yeah, make sure to send your details through, and we'll make sure to get those prizes out to you. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we'll put this up. We'll put this out to the people. So, does anyone have any questions, or has anyone got any comments that they'd like to make? Anything about esports, or just about anything in general?
Man, I love the fact that someone mentioned SimCore. Like, when I tell you this, like Kobe or like MJ to me, like, damn, watching that guy play Counter-Strike when I was growing up is just crazy.
Billy Brereton, no realistic shooters are allowed at Waikato Esports Arena. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so they don't have COD, but they'll have like Fortnite.
They'll definitely have Fortnite, yeah.
Oh, man, real quick, Valorant, or however you say it, man, the new Riot shooter that's coming out. Oh, whoa, I've been watching the alpha, and I am I'm sad there's no beta or alpha access down in this side of the world, but that's going to be a scene. I may actually jump in the FPS scene once that game comes out. I think you and I should do it, Drex. Me, you, Ange, Ian, and we'll say Frost. We're going to make a team. We're going to make Shadownet's first Valorant team. Yeah.
Valorant. Yeah. Marcus Powell said earlier, that's why Korea has been so ahead of the game for so long. They practice games the same way people practice for sports. It just becomes like, it's not just muscle memory, but it's like they're machines, man. I mean, they are machines.
Yeah, see, one thing I can attest to about what he said is, because like I said, I play a lot of StarCraft. So I used to play a lot of Brood War Online, used to play a lot of StarCraft 2, and honestly, they are in a league of their own. It's crazy. Whenever I say I'll take a challenge from anyone at StarCraft, I mean like anyone here. Because, wow, whenever I played them online, damn, that level of efficiency and practice they have is crazy. But it's not unattainable. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Navi. Oh, no, Navi's crying. I forgot to. Of course, he's the man. Navi's Mr. FPS. Wait, no. Hang on. Okay. Shadownet's fun team. Marcus Powell, any Shadownet Pokemon Go players? Yes, my dad. My dad, Amph, the man who's in the chat. He's a TFT player like me. We both compete, but he's got like 3 level 40 accounts, I think it is, in Pokemon Go. He's a diehard player.
Yeah, I'll pose this question to the chat. If you know of any New Zealand esports players, who would you want to see on this podcast? Is there anyone that you'd like us to interview or talk about? Like,
that is an amazing question.
In future. Like, not right now, obviously, we're near the end. But... Keone, do you have anyone?
That I'd like to interview personally?
Yep.
Yeah, Quinn69, seriously. Like, I know we talked about him before, but I would love to interview someone like that. Because, him having a career in a game that just, like, that isn't quite publicly popular, like, in terms of, like, what New Zealand would consider esports, but he has a whole career around it. I'd love to hear about that journey, Because, like, just sitting down and streaming, like, damn, did he just start? Like, I have so many questions about how he turned it into his job.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
For me, it would probably be probably be one of my boys, one of the fighting game guys. I'll probably choose. Yeah, I'll just choose Ghost Chips because he's.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we interview Ghost? Man, I love.
I can give him a ride home afterwards, so it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's depending if it's during or after lockdown. Hopefully,
Yeah.
because we'll probably have to do get one up. Oh my god, why not be friends? Another really really nice guy. So I met him at Armageddon briefly, and Ian made me embarrass myself by playing him 1-on-1, and like he wiped the floor with me. But nice dude, great player. I actually started watching some of his gameplay after I met him, and like, yeah, man, what a damn. That's just I don't know. I still, but every time I see players of that caliber in my presence, I'm just like, man, what an amazing,
this Holy Emperor as well. You're right, Ian. I guess I could I could do either of them just because they're friends, and it's literally just like us two having a chat. So
yeah, exactly. No, honestly, we should aim to have as many people podcast as well. Even I'll say this now, even non streamers, no. Okay, hang on a second. Billy said Jack Attack. Now, one thing I will say, and I'll tell you the story. Let me just tell the story. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So, my goodness, I was playing. This is back when I used to play League at like a decently high level. I'm not gonna say I was like a pro, but I was like high plat, low diamond. I queued up for a game once with my mate, and Jack Attack was on the other team playing Israel Jungle, and I'm pretty sure he went like 18-2. And I have since that day forever feared Jack and forever feared Israel Jungle. So like, if we have him on the show, like, yeah, but you're gonna see me practice some social distancing because I'm still salty. This was like 6 years ago, and I will never forget going up against Jack and just getting completely wiped. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Would be interested to hear about Twizz's Fortnite Cup campaign. Yes, Twizz, because we did mention Twizz and Cover H from the Warriors Esports. I would love, to have them on the show as well and talk to them because there's some great things. Rudism as well. I had no idea that Rudism was a Kiwi. Can we please get him on? Like, man, I'm gonna just throw that out there.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Dude's a champ. Yeah. Well, hey, man. All I can tell you is Jack Attack is officially the champ of my nightmares. So I don't know if I ever quite got over that. Maybe that's why I never went back to play. I was like, you know what? Just stay in gold and I'll just get my reward and I'll just chill down here. But was there anything else that we've missed or needed to touch on while we were going over here?
We've done the bulk of it. I think we've kind of.
I think Ange just tried to curse me out. What was that, Ange? I'm kidding. I know you didn't. I know you didn't. It's just they can't hear you, so it's just whatever she's saying on the side. Whoa! Okay, well that was no.
I guess we could edit here, man.
I think we've had a good run. I'm kind of.
It was a bit shaky, but a few things happening in. But,
I had fun, man. I had fun. Thanks for everyone to tuning in as well. All the people. Congrats to our winners as well. We will definitely be doing this as a regular thing. I believe Sunday is the day, but hey, who knows? We might pop up on any day.
This quarantine's a bit of a situation, as we know. So there will be a definite follow-up episode. Have to decide when. Yeah. So we've also got to shout out the Shadownet team. Who have helped us out behind the scenes. We've got Shadownet on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram. So if you're on those socials, go check them out. Give them a like. If you've seen
Shadownet GG on all socials.
At Shadownet GG. Any of our team members, just hit them up if you need anything. If you want to ask anything, hit us up if you want to ask anything.
Harder. If you want a 1-out, set up Navi. I hear he's quite good at those.
Yeah.
I used to be, but I had to give up the brains. I'm no longer the 1-outs man in the team.
Yeah. So no, this has been Shadownet from the shadows. And thank you so much.
So yeah, next Sunday 4 p.m. will be the next episode while we're still in lockdown, and then we'll keep ironing it out from there. But tune in again. It's been lovely. Shout out to my man Drex and Ange. I love you guys.
I love you too, man.
All right. Well, damn, there was the one in a way Ange said to me off camera. That was just. I may have to go take a long shower now. Just really think about whether I want to be here at Sunday 4 p.m. next week. No, I'm kidding. We will definitely be here. I hope you will. Tell your friends, bring everyone. Might have a little bit of something to give away next week as well. I might be feeling generous. Oh, especially because next Sunday is the DNA TFT tournament. So who knows? Maybe I'll go live on the podcast and play at the same time. We'll stream it and do it all. But yeah, that's it from me. Anything else you guys want to say before we sign off?
No, just yeah. Thank you, thank you guys. Really, thank you. It's been great.
Thanks everybody. Peace.